Today we're going to be talking about 5 steps to getting a football scholarship, and it's honestly simpler than you think. Now, step 1 to receiving a scholarship offer is making an X account. X is formerly known as Twitter. So X is where a lot of college coaches go to do their recruiting. Probably every single college coach, whether it's a D1 school, D2, D3, NAIA, whatever the case may be, has a Twitter account or an X account. So that's where you need to be as an athlete, and you need to make a profile. So what should you have on the profile? So number 1, you want to obviously keep it professional, right? Because that's chances are a first impression that a college coach will see from you is your X profile. So if you have some stupid username, you don't have your actual name in the bio, you have a profile picture that maybe makes you look like an idiot, those are not good first impressions to have to a college coach. So have your profile picture be just a simple picture of you playing football at a camp, whatever the case may be. Have your username be your name, and then in your bio, you want to have your full name, graduating class, your position, the state that you live in, and then the high school that you attend. And then maybe any other marketable traits about yourself. Like let's say maybe you're 6'4", 225 pounds. I would probably put that in my bio because that can help you stand out. Now, what should you be posting on the X account? You want to be uploading clips just to have some kind of social media presence. Whether you have varsity film or whether you don't have varsity film, you should post clips probably on a weekly basis, maybe every couple of days of you training, working out in the gym, working out with a trainer, whatever the case may be, just so you have some kind of social media presence. Then, number 1, most important thing about an X account is your pinned tweet. So you could pin a tweet that essentially means the first thing that people will see when looking at your profile. If you have varsity film, your pinned tweet should be your highlight tape so coaches can easily access that tape. Now, before we get into step 2 to receiving a scholarship offer, if you're a quarterback or wide receiver and would like to train with myself and my staff of coaches this offseason, check out that very first link in the description below. We are coming out to 11 more states across the country for 2-day-long QB and wide receiver camps. We're going to be coming out to Portland, Oregon, then we'll be heading out to Dallas, Texas, Nashville, Tennessee, Chicago, Illinois, Buffalo, New York, Atlanta, Georgia, Houston, Texas, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, Detroit, Michigan, Boise, Idaho, and finishing it off and Los Angeles, California. So guys, if you're local to one of those cities and would like to train with myself and my staff, again, very first link in that description below. Let's get back to this video. Now, step 2 to receiving a scholarship offer is that you need to reach out to those coaches on the X platform. So where can you find these college coaches? A lot of college coaches don't even have necessarily their DMs open. So how can you get a hold of these guys? Because everybody always says that like, oh, DM college coaches, DM college coaches. What's an actual strategy that you can use? So number 1, where should you find these guys? You need to go to, like, let's use a school, for example. Let's say it's the University of Michigan, right? Now, again, will you have a lot of success with the University of Michigan because they're probably the biggest D1 school right now? Probably not, but you could use this exact strategy with schools from every single level. I recommend making something called a target list. A target list is where you get schools from D1, D1 FCS, then you go D2, D3, NAIA, and get 10 schools from each specific division that you're interested in. So what you want to do is you want to run just a simple search on X or on formerly known as Twitter and just type in Michigan football. So they'll have a football, like a dedicated football Twitter account. Now don't go to who's following that account because chances are it's going to probably be hundreds of thousands of people. Go to who that account is actually following. It's probably going to be a couple hundred people, right? It might be some guys that they're recruiting. It might be analysts, other schools, but also you will find a list of coaches, right? And those coaches are who you ultimately want to reach out to. So you could do this with every single school that has a football team. It's just about every single school that has a football team will have a dedicated football account. So you go on there, you find a coach. You want to try to find your position coach and then a recruiting coordinator for your area. So what do I mean by that? Colleges don't send out, like let's say you're a receiver trying to get recruited. They won't send a receiver coach out to all 50 states to recruit all 50 states. What they will do is they will send one coach to recruit an entire region. So in your region, the offensive line coach may be the coach that you want to try to get a hold of because he's the one who does the recruiting for your area. Now, if they don't have that listed, a lot of schools, especially the smaller schools, will have recruiting coordinator XYZ state in their Twitter bio. That's who you want to reach out to. If you don't have that, reach out to your position coach. That would be my best piece of advice there. So that's how you can find the college coaches. Now, like I said, a lot of coaches don't have their DMs open unless you are a verified account on X. So I highly recommend paying for the verification on on X so you could reach out to as many people as possible. I want to say it's something like $20 to $25 a month. If you guys can't find a way to earn $20 to $25 a month, I think you could just get a little bit more creative. Go to the grocery store, buy a big thing of chips, go to school, sell the chips for like $2 a pop. Easy way that you can make 20 to 25 bucks, borrow it from your parents, whatever the case may be, but I highly recommend it. Is it possible if you're not verified? Probably, but it's a very, very tough road. Now, what do you say to these college coaches in your direct message? You want to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. College coaches are very, very busy people, right? They're guys that don't have a lot of time, right? So if you send them this long, like paragraph essay thing, not going to read it. I'm just going to tell you that right now. What you want to do is 3 specific things. Address them by name in the intro of that message, and then you want to include a marketable attribute about yourself, and you want to ask them a question. Those are the 3 things that you want to do. So it's like, hey, Coach Johnson, my name is such and such. I'm a 6'4", 200-pound wide receiver. You got to find something that's marketable about yourself. If you don't, it's going to be tough to get recruited to play in college anyways, so find something that's marketable about yourself, and then ask them a question. And the question you want to ask them, this is what I recommend. Do you have any camps coming up, or are you going to be attending any satellite camps this offseason? Because ultimately, that's where you want to go to get in front of them, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Now, step 3 to receiving a scholarship offer. We already talked about how you can use Twitter and what you want to ask these college coaches when you contact them on Twitter. You don't want to contact them on Twitter and just go, hey, coach, watch my film. Hey, I'd love to come to your school. They're not going to respond to that. You know how many messages that they actually get. You got to ask them a question. You got to find a way to stand out with them and develop a relationship. So when it comes to going to college camps, so many athletes go about it the wrong way. They will go to these huge single school camps. Like I live in Southern California, right? So a lot of kids every single year go, oh, I'm going to go to USC's camp. Oh, I'm going to go to UCLA's camp, right? And great, maybe you're a Division I level football player, but at the end of the day, guys, those coaches have zero clue who you are, and it is going to be a huge waste of your time. Is it a cool experience going to the school, meeting a couple coaches, maybe a couple players, seeing the facilities? Yeah, absolutely. But if you're serious about the recruiting process, you should avoid the camps where the coaches don't know who you are. You want to go to camps where college coaches actually have communicated with you or have recruited you in the past. So let's say you have varsity film, maybe a college coach came to your school, maybe a college coach has communicated with you on Twitter. You want to go where they actually know who you are, because when you show up to a camp, if that coach knows who you are, maybe he remembers you on Twitter, maybe he saw your film, whatever the case may be, he's going to pay more attention to you in actual drill work, because college coaches do need to see athletes with their own eyes. But you go to these big single school camps where the staff is there, I guarantee you if you've gone to these before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You show up and you're sitting there wondering, how the hell does that guy know the entire coaching staff when this is a camp? It's probably because they were actively recruiting him, and he has been on campus probably for 2 to 3 days before you even got there for the camp. Guys, they're only looking at the people that they're actually recruiting. They invest hundreds of thousands of dollars into flying coaches all across the country, like we mentioned, to scout talent. They're some of the best scouts in the world. So they're only going to be watching your guys. You're just kind of funding the entire camp and putting more money in their pocket, if I'm being honest. Now, you want to go, like I said, where you're being actively recruited so you can meet with coaches and coaches that actually can see you and you perform in front of their own eyes. Now, let's say, for example, you're a kid who doesn't have varsity film. Maybe you have never talked to a college coach. What college camp should you go to? Go to something called mega or satellite camps. Now, a lot of people think that these camps are rip-offs, scams, whatever, but they go about it with the wrong mindset. They show up to those camps and they go, oh, I'm going to perform really well and I'm going to get an offer. Not true, not going to happen, probably won't happen for anybody unless you're already being scouted by the coaches that are there, like we mentioned earlier. But you go to those mega and satellite camps to actually meet people, right? To build relationships. So let's say you don't have any film, but you have a Twitter account, you're doing all the stuff that I was talking about in this video. You go to a mega camp, which is where there's multiple college staffs in attendance. So like usually it's at a smaller division school like D3, D2. They'll host a mega camp. 10 to 12 different college coaches will show up, and those 10 coaches are there to like scout, right? You're there to just meet them. You're there, and obviously you want to perform well, but you're there to like shake hands, follow them on Twitter, shoot them a message after you follow them on Twitter, thanking them for their time, to build contacts. So when you do actually get varsity film, you have people to send it to, because you're not going to get any real recruiting attention without varsity film. But that's how the camp game should be ran, and that's what you need to focus on when attending camps this summer. Now, if you want to play college football, you guys, you're going to be competing with grown-ass men. Like, I'm being serious, especially the way the transfer portal is nowadays. If you're a high school player and you want to stand out, you have to pass the eye test. You need to be strong in the gym. You need to be able to put on size in the offseason. You need to pass the eye test. Like I said, coaches need to see you and think, okay, that's a college football player. So if you guys need to get bigger this offseason, check out that second link in the description below where you guys can get our A&G Labs creatine powder. This is a supplement company that I founded with my brother specifically for for athletes. If you use the promo code FIRST15, you could get our creatine powder, 100 servings creatine monohydrate for 15% off. Now, what does creatine do? Creatine essentially pulls the water from your body and hydrates your muscles internally to improve your strength in the gym, which will help you lift heavier weight, go harder in the gym, which will help you put on size. It's not a magic drug that you just take and get bigger, but it's something that's going to help your performance in the gym. So if you're serious about playing college football, you need to get stronger, you need to get bigger, and a creatine supplement is a great way to do that. So check out that second link in the description below. Use promo code FIRST15, 15% off your entire order. Now, step 4 to receiving a scholarship offer builds off everything that we talked about, right? So you're on your Twitter account, you have the right film, you're posting the right clips, you maybe have your pinned highlights in the, as the pinned tweet in your bio. So now, college coaches, you have relationships with them from camps, right? Maybe they were recruiting you prior, maybe they looked at your film from like Twitter messages, whatever the case may be, right? But then it gets a little stagnant when the season starts because colleges are preparing for their actual season just like how you're preparing for your season. So what you want to do is after the first 5 games, this is step 4. Make a mid-season highlight tape. So a mid-season highlight tape is essentially exactly how it sounds. 5 games, usually play 10 games in a high school season, not counting the playoffs. After the first 5 games, you want to make a highlight tape. It's about 1 minute to 2 minutes long of your best absolute plays, and you want to send that mid-season tape to the coaches that you are in communication with. So this applies if you have varsity film already, or maybe you don't have any varsity film and it's your first year starting on varsity. So let's say you go to those mega camps. Let's say you don't have varsity film. You go to those mega camps, you got 10 to 12 new coaches that you've DM'd. Those are contacts for you. After that mid-season tape, bam, you're sending it to those coaches, keeping it short and sweet. Hey, coach, I was at your camp in such and such state last year. Here's my mid-season highlight tape, right? Maybe they see it, maybe they don't, but that's the game that you have to play. Then, after the first 5 games, after your mid-season highlight tape, that's when you could do something else to help your recruiting process, and that's what we're going to talk about next. Now, when your season ends, this brings me to step 5 to getting a scholarship offer. You need to make a full season highlight tape. So that full season highlight tape, guys, like when you're making a highlight tape, you want to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. We talked about it when messaging a college coach. College coaches have very limited time, right? They're not going to sit there and read an essay about your life. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure a lot of people have great stories to tell and why they should play college football, etc. But the harsh reality of it is, college coach probably doesn't care. He wants to know what you're going to do for me and can you help us win games. So your film should be no different. You should not waste their time. They're not going to sit there and watch a 7 to 10 minute long video. They're going to sit there and know within the first 3 to 5 plays if you're a college football player, especially at the Division I level. So those first 3 to 5 plays got to be explosive. Your tape should be no longer than 3 minutes, and it's 3 minutes of solid film that makes you jump off the tape, I guess you could say, because that film is what gets you recruited, guys. If you do not have varsity film, if you do not have a varsity highlight tape, you will not be able to play football at the next level. You see it all the time. Guys get these offers and they don't have varsity film. It's all BS. It's all a fake offer. It's all a verbal offer. Hey, we think you might be really good, but if you suck, we're not going to be liable to this offer. It's all verbal, guys. So you need to get a real offer, you need varsity film. And varsity film and a varsity highlight tape that stands out is the best thing that you could do at the end of the season to send it to coaches. Because then the offers can start rolling in something called the contact period. So the contact period is a time after Christmas break, like around January, like I would say 8th, 9th, depending on what day it is. But that Monday where you get back from Christmas break, that January 8th and 9th, all the way until probably around like March, there's something called a contact period. And that's where college coaches can come to your school and recruit athletes. So that's a time when a lot of athletes start landing offers. They start landing scholarship offers, committable offers, non-committable offers, and that is when you guys will land that offer if you follow the steps possible and you obviously have the skills.